The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, as translated by Baba Haridas. Book 2, Sādhana Pāda. Austerity, self-study, and surrender to God constitute Kriya Yoga, practical yoga. Kriya Yoga is practiced for attaining samadhi and reducing the afflictions. The 5 afflictions, kleshas, are ignorance, egoism, attraction, repulsion, and fear of death. Ignorance is the field for the other kleshas, which can appear as dormant, weak, interrupted, or operative. Ignorance consists of seeing permanence in the impermanent, purity in the impure, pleasure in pain, and the self in the non-self. Egoism, asmita, is identifying the power of cognition, buddhi, as if it were the power of consciousness, purusha. Attachment is that which accompanies the remembrance of pleasure. Repulsion or aversion is that which accompanies pain. The love of life, or the great fear of death, flows by its own potency and is similarly established in all, even the wise. The subtle forms of these afflictions are destroyed by resolving them back into their cause. Mental modifications based on the afflictions are destroyed by meditation. Latent impressions of action, karmashaya, have their origin in the afflictions and are experienced in the present and future births. As long as the root afflictions exist, the karmashaya ripens into birth, span of life, and experience. Pleasure and pain are the fruits of them, birth, span of life, and experience, according to merit and demerit. For a person with discrimination, everything is painful. Even pleasurable experiences bring pain because everything changes, because of acute suffering, because of the perpetuation of latent tendencies, and because of the opposing nature of the gunas, the qualities of creation. The pain of the future is avoidable. The conjunction of the knower and the knowable is the cause of the avoidable pain. The knowable, prakriti, is by nature knowledge, activity, and stability. Sattva, rajas, and tamas. The elements and sense organs are its form, and experience and liberation are its purpose. The states of the gunas, the qualities of prakriti, are specialized, unspecialized, indicator only, and that which is without indicator. The seer is consciousness only, and though entirely pure, appears to know the content of buddhi. Prakriti, manifest nature, exists for the sake of that, purusha, alone. Although prakriti ceases to exist for one whose purpose has been fulfilled, it is not destroyed for others because of its communal use by all. Conjunction is that which brings about the realization of the inherent capabilities of purusha and prakriti, which are owning and being owned, respectively. Ignorance is the cause of this conjunction. From the absence of ignorance comes the absence of union of purusha and prakriti. This avoidance is absolute freedom of the seer, purusha. Unwavering, discriminative knowledge is the vehicle for removing ignorance. The yogi's awareness develops in 7 stages of ultimate insight. The sustained practice of the limbs of yoga destroys impurity of the mind, at which point the light of knowledge reaches up to the discriminative wisdom. Restraints, observances, posture, regulation of breath, withdrawal, concentration, meditation, and absorption are the 8 limbs of yoga. The restraints are non-violence, truthfulness, non-stealing, continence, and non-possessiveness. They, the five restraints, become a great vow when they are practiced universally, not limited by space, time, life state, or circumstances. The observances are purity, contentment, austerity, self-study, and surrender to God. When the mind is disturbed by negative thoughts, one should dwell on their opposites. Negative thoughts cause violent or harmful actions. They are either performed directly, initiated through others, or tacitly approved. They may be caused by greed, anger, or delusion, and are in mild, medium, or intense degrees. Dwelling on the opposite is knowing that their result is endless pain and ignorance. All hostilities are given up in the presence of one who is firmly established in nonviolence. On being firmly established in truthfulness, the yogi's words bear fruit as actions. On being firmly established in non-stealing, all kinds of wealth present themselves. On being firmly established in sexual continence, vigor is obtained. On becoming steady in non-possessiveness, knowledge arises of how and why birth comes. From the perfection of cleanliness, there arises indifference to one's own body and cessation of contact with others. From purification of the mind, there arises cheerfulness, one-pointedness, control of the senses, and fitness for the vision of the self. Unsurpassed happiness is gained by contentment. Upon destruction of impurities through austerity, there comes perfection in the body and sense organs. By self-study comes communion with the desired deity. From surrender to God, superconsciousness is attained. The posture, asana, should be steady and comfortable. Posture is mastered by relaxation of effort and absorption in infinite space. From that mastery of posture, the pairs of opposites no longer disturb. On this perfection of posture, the cessation of movement of inspiration and expiration of breath is called regulation of breath, pranayama. That pranayama is external, internal, and suspended. When regulated by space, time, and number, they become prolonged and subtle. The fourth pranayama transcends the external and the internal. From that pranayama, the veil over the light disappears. And the mind becomes fit for concentration. Pratyahara is when the senses separate from their objects, following as it were the nature of the mind, withdrawn from the senses by concentrating on an internal object. From that pratyahara comes the highest control of the senses.